Spartans! Ready your breakfast and eat hearty. For tonight, we dine in hell!
How you doing, YouTube? Parasitic Generation back with you today to do a review and video on a revolver. Okay, now this is of the Rock Island Armory M200.38 Special. Now I like Rock Island Armory because they make a lot of 1911s, different kinds. I had their GI model back in the day. Sold it because I don't have a lot of money. Okay, I can't go and buy a whole bunch of firearms that just come out to review. Although I would really love to do that, and I don't have any sponsors, or I don't do Patreon or none of that. I'm fully supported by my wallet, which is pretty empty. But that's not a boohoo. I'm just letting you know. This is the M200. They also make a Model 206, which is a snub nose version. This is the full size revolver. It has a 4-inch semi-shrouded barrel. Okay, I like that. I like the 4 inches. Okay, I like the extra 2 inches that it gives you over the snubby. That's what she said. At least I hope she does. It has just a standard ramp front sight, trench rear sight. Kind of hard to see in a low light situation, so I'm gonna have to definitely paint that with red or green zombie stuff eventually, but I'm kind of lazy. But anyways, it is a full-size revolver. It is a heavy sucker. Loaded, it is 1.98 pounds. 1.98 pounds. Okay, so let's round it up to 2 pounds. So it's a heavy sucker. That's both good and bad. For carry, it can be done, definitely, because I have done it. For recoil absorption, it is very good. This thing has almost no recoil whatsoever, especially if you're using really light loads. So yeah, it's very good for that. I'm going to get right to the downsides right off the bat. Not knocking this revolver. It is a pretty good revolver for the price. But the finish is utterly horrible. It is insanely horrible. I've hardly used this at all, and it has parkerization coming right off. Now, this is parkerized, and it is only done one time. It is not done multiple times. It doesn't have any kind of Cerakote. None of that. It's just one parkerized job. That's it. There you go. So, yeah, not a fan of that. Although for the price, I can't really knock it. Okay, you gotta cut costs somewhere. So you're gonna have to keep this thing well oiled if you keep it in a humid environment or something like that, so it won't rust on you. Okay. Now the grips. They call this combat polymer. Don't know what the hell combat polymer is, but yeah, let's go with that. They're okay. It's a functional grip. Fits my hand. Not the most super comfortable grips in the world. I much prefer a Taurus Model 85 or 605 grips. The sticky rubber. I love those grips. Love those grips. But this is just feels like a toy plastic to me in all reality. Held together by a single screw, which is mild steel, so you can't mess it up with a screwdriver if you're not gentle with it. Okay, ask me how I know that. Alright. It has a Colt style cylinder release. I'm digging it. I dig it. It is a 6-round cylinder, unloaded. Oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted. The cylinder, this right here is super smooth right here. Super smooth. No problem there with the cylinder. My God, I'm having a brain fart and I'm forgetting what this is. I'm not a revolver guy, as you can tell, but this is super smooth. Okay. Going in, the cylinder, putting the cylinder in is super smooth. And lock up. Got a little bit of wobble, but not too much. I haven't had any lead buildup or shavings, so I know that the rounds aren't getting cut off, so that little wobble is not that big a deal. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. Maybe in the future, maybe it'll start getting out of time. I really don't know. I've put 200 rounds through it, no problems. Okay, now the double action, as we can see here, it is unloaded. Okay, but double action, super heavy. Okay, and that's kind of what you want in a double action, but it's smooth all the way through. Single action, for the price of this revolver, is just, oh, delightful. In my opinion, it's a good single action. Now, in a defensive situation, you're not going to be, let me get my cowboy shooter out and single action this bad boy into your face. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe it's just because I had a couple of energy drinks before doing this review. I don't know. But, yeah, you're not going to be using single action for a defensive situation. In my opinion, you're going to be using double action, and in a self-defense situation, you're not going to notice that heavy trigger pull. Okay? Just my opinion. It has a relatively wide trigger guard for you to get gloved fingers in there if you're in a cold environment. It's pretty much simple revolver. It's about as simple as it gets in terms of production, in terms of function, yada yada yada. Now, positives is price point. Ammunition is widely available. This thing is not plus P rated. Well, actually it is plus P rated, but in a limited use. The manufacturer says you can shoot and carry plus P in this. Just don't do it all the time, because then this gun will start to fly apart on you. Kind of don't want that. So what I carry or have in it is Hornady American Gunner 125 grain jacketed hollow points. Okay, just standard pressure. And the reason I like standard pressure, because with this long barrel you get the full amount of the powder charge. Okay, it burns all the way down out the barrel, so a lot more expansion and acceleration, velocity over a snub nose. You don't lose anything, so that's why I like the long 4-inch. The long 4 inches. And so that is why I opted for this, because they also had a snubby version. Now, what this is good for, in my opinion, not so much a carry piece. I mean, you could on the outside holster. I've carried it inside the waistband, but it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. Okay, but this would make a good truck gun, good tackle box gun. It's good to a nightstand gun. You can put it in your nightstand for backup. It's easy to train on, easy to train somebody. It can sit in a place forever, pretty much, and pull it right out, and it goes bang. In full disclosure, the only problem I've had with this was with Remington green and white box. Don't know why, but the ammunition that sorry about that, I got interrupted there for a second. What I was saying was the only ammunition that I had problems with was Remington green and white box, and I had full strike or full primer strike on the rounds, and they didn't go off. Well, it was one out of every cylinder, so I got 5 shots off, and then one would be a dud. So I don't know if that was the ammunition's fault or the gun's fault, really, actually. So that's the only problems I've had, and that was out of a box of 50, so I don't know if that was a bad batch or what, but I would strike them again and they would go off. But that was just a little disconcerting, because that was the first box I put through it, and then I put a box of the Hornady American Gunners, didn't have any issues, and then I put a box of Monarch semi-jacketed hollow points through it and didn't have any issues, and then I put some Winchester 125 grain plus P semi-jacketed hollow points through it with no issue. A little bit more recoil per se, but I didn't put too many through it just because this is not rated for plus P, although you can shoot a limited amount of it without any issues, and in a self-defense situation it's not going to be a problem. in shooting plus P because your life depends on it and you want that. But yeah, all around an okay firearm. I recommend it for just to have in your collection. If you're not a revolver guy and you don't want to go spend a crap load of money, this is the high point of revolvers, and I'm not saying that in a negative effect, okay? But if you are going to get another higher end budget revolver, I would say go with a Taurus. But for what this is, it serves its purpose, and it is what it is. I kind of dig this sucker. This stays in my truck. So let me know what you think in the comment section below on the Rock Island Armory M200. I'm gonna have to make a shooting video at some point with this because yeah, I'm a really busy guy, and like my granddad used to say, violence is the last resort of the thinking man. Only a fool would refuse to face the facts, and it becomes an option for life. You stay armed and safe.